You haven't initiated contact with anyone in 3 months. Your birthday passed without plans and without complaint. Someone asked if you wanted to hang out, and you said, "I'm busy." But here's the thing, you weren't lying. You were busy. Busy protecting your psychological equilibrium. And you've never felt more grounded. People call you cold now, the one who changed, the one who cut everyone off. But here's what nobody's asking. What if you didn't cut people off? What if you just stopped pretending you weren't already functionally alone? Let's examine the psychology of people who walk away from everyone. Because it's not the deterioration narrative people assume it is. First, let's establish something. You didn't wake up emotionally detached. You woke up after years of being the friend who consistently showed up, who drove hours for other people's crises, who remembered birthdays like it was your responsibility. You were the reliable one, the connector, the person everyone contacted when they needed something. Then you needed something. Silence. Maybe one, "Sorry to hear that," text. Maybe someone said they'd call back. They didn't. And suddenly, the reciprocity equation stopped making sense. Here's where your brain did something fascinating. It started running cost-benefit analyses without conscious awareness. Every interaction became an accounting ledger. How much energy does this require? What am I actually receiving in return? And the data was devastating. You were the one initiating contact, always. You were the one adjusting your schedule, canceling plans, sacrificing your needs. And when you examined how many times they did the same, nothing. This is where the psychology becomes compelling. Your nervous system, this sophisticated survival mechanism, started recognizing a pattern. Every time you allowed someone in, every time you showed up authentically, you'd eventually find yourself alone processing the aftermath. The friend who disappeared when you experienced depression. The partner who left when circumstances became difficult. Your brain learned, connection equals eventual abandonment. So you started controlling the one variable you could, the exit. And here's the part that disturbs people. Abandonment hurts less when you initiate it. People call it self-sabotage. You call it pattern recognition. But this didn't originate in adulthood. Somewhere in childhood, you learned that people leave or people hurt. Perhaps a parent who was physically present but emotionally absent. Perhaps you were the child who learned to handle everything independently because requesting help meant hearing, "Not now," or "Figure it out yourself," or worse, no response at all. Perhaps your feelings were inconvenient. Don't be so sensitive. Other kids have it worse. So you learned, needing people is dangerous. Your nervous system absorbed this lesson during critical developmental periods, while it was still constructing models of how the world operates. Those early experiences became your relational blueprint. They mapped what connection looks like, what you can expect when you allow someone proximity. Every adult relationship that followed simply confirmed it. Eventually, you'll be alone. Eventually, the investment stops. Your nervous system organized itself around this pattern, not because you're damaged, because you're learning. Now here's where it becomes complex. People say you've built walls, but you didn't build walls. You built boundaries. There's a distinction. Walls exclude everyone. Boundaries exclude the wrong people. The problem? After enough years of only the wrong people appearing, those boundaries start resembling walls. And perhaps that's acceptable. This matters. This phase isn't about rejecting connection permanently. It's about refusing indiscriminate access. You didn't stop wanting people. You stopped accepting anyone who felt familiar but unsafe. You became a pattern analyst. You can identify abandonment signatures now within the first few conversations. The friend who only initiates contact when they need something. You see it in how they never inquire about your well-being. The person who's present when life is smooth but vanishes when it gets difficult. You know the exit signals. Responses getting shorter. "Let's hang out soon," becoming code for never. The friend who will definitely call when things calm down, but things never calm down. You've developed what psychologists call hypervigilance, but not the kind that generates paranoia, the kind that generates accuracy. You're reading micro-patterns others miss, the subtle tonal shift, the convenient excuses that consistently favor them, the way effort only flows unidirectionally. Your pattern recognition isn't pessimism, it's data collection, and the data keeps validating your analysis. You've become fluent in the language of emotional unavailability. You can translate every "I've been so busy" into its actual meaning. Every promise becomes predictable. Every, "we should catch up," dies exactly when you anticipate it will. You've observed this pattern repeat with sufficient people that you stopped being surprised. Now you just abbreviate it. Not dramatically, quietly. Stop initiating. Stop trying. See if they notice. They rarely do, and that tells you everything. The loneliest you ever felt wasn't when you withdrew from everyone. It was before. Sitting in a room full of friends, feeling invisible. Being in a relationship and still feeling fundamentally alone. The physical isolation didn't create the loneliness. It just stopped performing the fiction that the loneliness wasn't already present. Here's what surprises people. It doesn't hurt like you expected. The solo holidays, the birthday with no messages, the emergency you handle independently because there's no one to contact. You anticipated devastation. Instead, you got quiet, and quiet became your preferred state. People don't understand why you choose isolation over connection. They don't see that for you, isolation isn't the opposite of connection. It's the absence of rejection. It's the one space where you can't be abandoned because there's no one proximate enough to leave. You're not cold, you're clear. You're not closed off, you're protected. This isn't abandoning connection permanently. It's refusing to accept the broken version of it that's been offered repeatedly. It's saying, if this is what relationships are, constant one-sidedness, endless performing, waiting for people who never appear, then I'd rather have none. And here's what nobody articulates about choosing yourself. It's not selfish, it's survival. It's recognizing that you can't keep depleting yourself for people who treat you as a convenience, accessible when they need you, forgotten when they don't. And you know what's striking? You're not the villain in their narratives. Regardless of what they say when you're absent to defend yourself, you're just someone who finally stopped waiting for people to show up and started showing up for yourself. Maybe eventually you'll try again. Maybe you'll encounter someone who makes connection feel safe instead of terrifying. Maybe you'll find people who appear without you having to plead for their attention. Maybe. But right now, you're protecting the part of yourself that still remembers what it felt like to hope. You're keeping that capacity alive by refusing to let anyone extinguish it again. Because withdrawing from everyone isn't the absence of love, it's the presence of self-preservation. It's your nervous system finally saying, enough. You're not cold, you're surviving. You're not giving up, you're finally prioritizing yourself. And the boundaries you established, they're not keeping you trapped, they're keeping you intact. They're providing space to heal, to become someone who might eventually be ready to try again, but only on terms that honor who you are. You're here in the quiet, in the space you cleared by removing everything that was slowly destroying you. It's not the ending people wanted for you. It's the one that's keeping you whole.